What's up, guys? Studfit here. We're here for another episode of The Rundown, joined by Antilove. Thanks for joining us, man.
Glad to be here.
We got an exciting Penguin tour. I guess you could call it exciting. It's exciting to me, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But joined by the background with the new art, thanks to Remedius, and got the shirt. And if you're interested in the merchandise, take a look at that. But that's more just in case you got a special holiday person on your list and that likes Mario Kart. It's there. But we got a lot to get into. As always, I like to thank our members. They're the ones who allow us to be able to do this content, whether it's Kart Talk or this or the upcoming award ceremony. So you'll notice in this description at the very, very top, we have a survey. We're up to about 700 or so survey answerers. But we have about 700 responses. I'd like to get to about 1,000 before we do our award ceremony. I might have to cut it off a little bit early, but if you can, just take a couple seconds. The average time, it shows me that the analytics, it takes about 2 minutes. There's 20 questions, just literally just 20 different check boxes to click. But if you could do that, that'd be great. Hopefully we'll have an award ceremony in the coming week or two to kick off 2022, an exciting year. But I can't move into 2022 without thanking all these members. It's been so exciting seeing this grow. I've been sharing with them this past week my experience, and that's kind of why this tour is exciting to me, is I'm going for a soft top 10 run. I'm going to basically see how this first week goes. I am shocked how much time it goes into it. I pride myself on putting in about 8 to 10 hours to get top 100 every tour, but I know that it takes others who are going for the first time a lot longer to grind. My heartfelt condolences go to you because it is quite a grind. I think multiple 2 or 3 hours go by before getting the actual run that I want, which is mind blowing to me and somebody who is tries to be efficient and everything. So. Anyway, I've been sharing my experience with my members, just a short video every couple of days about what my experience is. So if you're interested in that, check that out. But so many thanks, especially to the Super Studs. We have some new ones in there as well that hopefully you get exposure to on Kart Talk coming this week. You might even be watching this rundown after our pipe pulls video for these carts, but just feel free to check that out in your spare time. But we have a lot to get into, including this first week pipe. We have the Penguin Pipe 1. There are 6 spotlights with a total of 9 high ends, which we'll even kind of talk about what is in there and still left over from last tour when it comes to the holiday items. But these items, they're meh. They're okay. But the odds are great. There's some items that you may or may not want. I watched Frenzy Fans video, the pool video with Jeeves, and it was fun watching them go for the skimmer, and if you like the skimmer, go for it. But I think there's a lot of better. There potentially could be better pipes coming up next tour, and even a great special pipe, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But Antilev, tell us a little bit about your thought process going into this week 1 pipe.
Yeah, so the thing that I don't like about this pipe is that there's only one new item, which is Penguin Toadette. And that probably means she will become the most amazing driver in the game later on. She's got the Ice Flower skill, which is in general a bad skill. You mostly want to ignore it. Front run for Coin Frenzies, maybe bag in the beginning for Mushroom Frenzy. Who knows what's going to go on with her items, but this is a city tour and she starts out with city tracks. So, she starts out with 9 tracks, but 4 of them are cities. Looking at the other items, Penguin Toad is actually quite a good driver. When you talk about the non-plus skill drivers, he's got 25 tracks, 19 non-city. And he's got the dash ring, which is a nice skill. It's not a plus skill, but it's decent. A dashing frenzy will get you 24 actions, and the single dashing plus is 5 actions. So it's comparable with a coin frenzy. Looking at the rest of the items, the polka dot manta is a very nice glider, but it's not that new. There have been opportunities to get it in the past. If you don't have it by now, maybe you've got it covered somewhere else. Other than that, we've got some pretty old items in the Blizzard Parasol, the Snow Skimmer, and the Black Penguin Slider. So on the whole, I think it really comes down to, do you want Penguin Toadette or not? And if you're not a big Toadette fan, then I would say it's maybe a pass.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. I do like this pink and coral raspberry, whatever this color is, and so I think it would look really cool on a top 10 badge. And that's one of the reasons why I think that if you haven't started already, it's not bad tour to go for a top 100 or top 1,000. There's a lot of people that don't really like investing into city tours, and so typically it's a little bit easier, slightly more easier than a non-city tour. And then you also have this upcoming New Year's tour with potential of a Kong or Coinbox, and so I think everyone's stashing up, and so and then on top of that, the tracks that are Vancouver Velocity 2, not a lot of Coinboxers. So people are already scared to put too many tickets or invest into these drivers specifically because they're not that elite skill. So that helps you. You also you may or may not have time off for the holidays. There's a lot going on when it comes to that aspect of it. As you might mention, we might get to here in a little bit. Some of these tracks are left over from last tour. So you're thinking Mary Mountain, you think about Vanilla Lake. So you might have already kind of started to box out that coverage and get that a little bit more familiar. But yeah, I did a little crap pretend pull on behalf of Jeeves, and I got this little Toadette. I'm not a Toadette fan. I think she has some of the worst coverage, the original Toadette. But you can't fight the fact that the Explorer version of her has been pretty good here lately, and of course she's got a top shelf here next week. Yeah, overall, it's not a pipe I would get too excited about. I think most people are going to be saving for next tour. But it is interesting, as you mentioned, only one new item, considering the fact that we have so many new items this tour. Let's get into these. So we have, obviously, Penguin Toadette, which is in this pipe. We have this Super Driver that you get as a reward. You have Frostwing, which is a spotlight in the in this special pipe. Then you have White Snow Skimmer, that is the spotlight of next tour, next week's pipe. Then you have a couple items that are exclusive, paywalled in packs, including Frosty Bells and Aurora Balloons. And then you have a Gold Penguin Wingtip that is in a Gold Pass, and then a New Year's 2022 that's a commemorative item. So all in all, 8 new items this tour. Exactly what you asked for, I'm sure, Antolev. We'll get into them. So this is a city tour, and so each one of these items gets at least 1 or 2 cities, and so you'll notice them in red, just outlining the fact that it does come with those cities. Really, everyone couldn't avoid it. I think the White Snow Skimmer has the most with 3. When you think about one of those items, one of those tracks, Vancouver Velocity 2T unlocked at level 6. Overall, I think some cool looking items. I think we all love that gradient style look that the Cometail has. We'll get into a little bit more about the Frostwing, but I think the Frosty Bells looks awesome. It's got a really cool I think Sammy D called it a Glam Bruiser color style to it. But I absolutely love that aspect of it. Then you have the Aurora Balloons, which looks cool too, similar to the Sunset Balloons. But all in all, they could give us. I mean, if really they only give us new items with this gradient-looking style, I'm all for it. But these are a lot of new items. Antolev, what are your thoughts on each of these? I know you kind of had a nice little tidbit on each.
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, because it's a city tour, each one of them does start off with some city coverage. If we look at their starting coverage, I'm going to give you my favorite item and my least favorite item. I mean, it's a bit unfair to pick on a light blue Toad pit crew because he's a super, but his start does not look good. He only starts with 4 tracks. A lot of super start with 5 or 6. 3 of those 4 tracks are cities. We count Merry Mountain and Ninja Hideaway as cities because their reappearance rate is similar to a city.
I think we're using the term, according to the term nitro. Maybe we'll put it that way. 3 nitro tracks.
Sure. So, yeah, call it a nitro track, city track, what you want.
Tomato.
And his one decent track is a level 6 unlock. So, and he's got Ice Flower, which is a terrible skill. So yeah, he doesn't have a good start. If you're not going to finish top 5 this week, I wouldn't sweat it too much. My favorite item out of the 8 items pictured here is the Frostwing. starting with 9 tracks. 3 are cities, 6 non-cities. He has the Frostwing has all 3 Vanilla Lake 2 tracks at level 6. So that is really big. It's a new track we just had as a new track last tour. We will see it a lot upcoming in January and February, probably winter months. And they're relatively paywalled. And the other 3 tracks it has are all 3 RMX Rainbow 2 variants, which are also tracks which are relatively paywalled, and you may not have a great top shelf. If I was going to go all in on one item on this tour, I would say it would be the Frostwing. And fortunately for us, it's a Spotlight and a Special Pipe, so it's not going to be that difficult to get. Looking a bit further, let's talk about the Frosty Bells. He starts with 5 non-cities. So that's not fantastic. I think 8 tracks, 3 of them are cities, and overlaps there. Got 3 overlaps with the Gold Jeep Charger and 3 overlaps with the Frostwing. Nothing else is more than 2 overlaps. Let's move over to the Gold Penguin Wingtip. That's the Gold Pass reward. Starting with 6 non-cities out of a total of 7 tracks. That's actually pretty okay. Overlap there, 3 with Dry Bowser Umbrella and 3 with New Year's 2022. Nothing else with more than 2. The Aurora Balloons, and that's in a pack next week. 8 tracks, 6 non-cities. The only one it has more than 2 overlaps with is the Polka Dot Manta Glider. And did I miss one? I missed the Frosty. No, I meant Frosty.
You skipped over the White Snow Skimmer.
The White Snow Skimmer, sure. That is also a problematic card. It, from its placement, you would think, okay, this one is going to be good. It's in a pipe as the only new item with a bunch of returning stuff. It starts out with 8 tracks and only 3 non-cities. It doesn't have overlap, but it doesn't have that many non-city tracks, so it's really hard to get a beat on it. It might turn out good, but the starting set is not that spectacular. The Gold Snow Simmer and the regular Snow Simmer are pretty okay cards, though, so, going on the basis of one family of cards is usually okay. It might have potential, but the start is not so good. And finally, we have the New Year's 22, the commemorative item. It starts out with 7 tracks, 6 non-cities. The only tracks where it has more than 2 overlaps are with the Gold Penguin Wingtip, that Gold Pass new glider, and the Dry Bowser Umbrella again. So that's basically it.
Let me ask you this. I know we have a lot of items, like some of the best items we've seen here lately have been Black Black Cat Cruise, or maybe that's a bad example, but Black Great Sail, the Black Birdo, Turbo Birdo, we've had Black Toby and Balloons. We have a lot of great items that are black. Is this the first item that we have that's white? I know we have Cream Bee Dasher Mark II, but actually using the word white in it.
White Turbo Yoshi, I think.
White Turbo Yoshi. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And White Yoshi as well. Which are sort of debatable. We've got our driver of the week analysis of White Yoshi. He's a bit, controversial, but
yeah, I wouldn't say that they've been necessarily great. My curiosity would be, I know this was Year of the Black items, and pretty dominantly. It makes me wonder if 2022 will be Year of the White items, and for whatever reason, White Snow Skimmer is the Romby runner of 2022, and just kind of putting it out there. I've never seen white before like this, so as other than those Yoshi type items, so I don't know, it caught my attention, made me wonder, and we'll see if something happens with that. Anything else on this on these new items?
No, not really. I mean, Penguin Toadette's maybe the only one that I didn't really mention on her. She starts with 9 tracks, 5 non-cities, and no real significant overlaps there. There's a few. She got 2 overlaps with Kamek on her non-city tracks, and other than that, nothing really to mention. So, but yeah.
No, I thought you did a good job touching on each one of those. I appreciate you going into that detail. That's what the fans want. I'm almost certain of that. We do have some additional holiday non-spotlights. So, in addition to pulling that Toadhead Penguin, because you're probably going to be going for it for whatever reason, you might even be hoping for some of these additional holiday items as the non-spotlights. So obviously you have the non-spotlights that we've seen for a long time, and I know last tour they added Peach Wintertime. But you also have these additional holiday items. You might be hoping to get Bowser Santa. You might be hoping to get Daisy Holiday Cheer. Maybe not the penguins, but I think there's some additional non-spotlights. If you're pulling, you see a star, and you get Bowser Santa, you might be like, whoa, what's going on? Just so I want to let you know that that's in there. Same thing with cards too. You got some of these holiday items in there as well. Holiday King. It's a nice little bonus to throw in there. Now, of course, for cards, there's so many of them. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much. Like, I could really use Holiday King this week in ranked or something. Yeah, probably I wouldn't go that route. But they are in there. And then finally to gliders for the non-spotlights, the Starry Great Sale was added. So that's interesting. You got 3 great sales in there. Pretty interesting there. And then, of course, holiday items in there, too. As for week 2, we have more penguins. In case you like penguins, this is definitely your tour. Because we have 4 penguins, nearly as many as we have Kongs or monkeys in the game, as we kind of alluded to before. With that white snow skimmer as the week 2 exclusive items, but everything else you probably have had access to. Anything you want to add to this week 2 pipe, Antilev?
No, I mean, it's pretty clear. Like, talking about the drivers, Penguin Mario is a top 10 in the Tabor rankings. His coverage is amazing. Skill is questionable. That's how it goes. It's a nice driver to get if you get him, but I have the feeling that either you're a Penguin fan or you really want that white snow skimmer, or otherwise there's not really a reason to pull this pipe. Of the Silver Surf Master, which is a banner-only glider coming up to this tour, is something I've heard a few people mention as a reason to pull this pipe. We'll get into that later when we discuss the buffs and the rankings. My opinion on the Silver Surf Master. But otherwise, it's some returning items. The Penguin Slider, Penguin Wingtip, I think they were together in a sort of like pseudo quasi commemorative pack. You could pay I don't remember. I think it was not a little bit more expensive.
Did they come together?
Pack.
Wow. I thought they were separate.
Both.
Okay, they were together.
I don't remember. Cool. Yeah. And I don't think they've come back. I'm not sure, but I don't remember.
I think I want to say the Berlin tour, or right before the Berlin tour, because I remember taking my Penguin Wingtip to level 6 for Berlin Byways, and I remember it being a pretty aggressive move there. So that's my guess. But the thing is that this Penguin Slider, it already has a reskin, kind of like the black Penguin Slider. Mm-hmm. But this Penguin Wingtip, until this golden version of it that came in this gold pass, hadn't gotten a reskin of it. So it's interesting that they brought it back, and obviously there are probably easier ways to have gotten it in the past, but if you missed it, not a bad option for you. And then I think the biggest pipe that most people are excited about is this Snow Karts pipe. It's a 50 pipe, and the Frostwing debuts in the spotlight. So I know you'll probably get into a little bit more of the data behind these cards, but this is a great pipe. Most likely there's already a pipe pull video out there of me pulling on it. I love this pipe. I think it's anytime we have an all cart pipe or an all glider pipe, unless you have 2 or 3 of those items at level 7, I think it's great odds to just be able to stack up, especially if you have a spotlight. As you know, anytime we have spotlights in these special pipes, they're pretty consistently good value. We've kind of referred to it before as a solid triple. It always has really, really good coverage. We haven't always seen the number 1, number 2 items be from special pipes like this, but they're almost guaranteed to break the top 10 at some point in time. And so I do feel that way about the Frostwing. So I would highly recommend at least going into that pipe to get that spotlight. These other cards, obviously you have these 2 older ones at the top, the Ice Blue Poltergust and the Comet Tail, been around for a while. Both, decent hitbox. The Comet Tail obviously having much better coverage than the Ice Blue Poltergust. And then the Cactice and the Ice Dozer, Both being reskins that were released this past year. I'm obviously a big fan of the Ice Dozer, but both of them have relatively large hitbox, and so I don't think you can go wrong there. I absolutely love this pipe, and we'll have to see what those odds are. My guess is 1 spotlight and 4 non-spotlights. That's my official guess. Angela, what are your thoughts on this pipe and the odds of your prediction?
Yeah, I like this pipe a lot. I think cards are in general kind of underrated and overlooked by a lot of people in the community. People are focusing on drivers, which makes sense first, and then gliders second. And it also makes sense, but you do need a good stable of cards. This is something I'm running into on my free-to-play account, where I focused heavily on drivers and gliders first, and my collection of cards is really lacking, and it's hurting me in scoring, I have to be honest. Looking at the items in the pipe, I think a lot of the value is going to come down to what is the probability here. If it's a 3 high-end out of 50 pipe, that's disappointing. If it's 4 high-ends, all right. If it's 5 or more, as you say, then it's almost a must pull for me. Like I said earlier, I think the Frostwing has a lot of potential. It's got a really strong start. It looks cool. Peeping frame has a decent sized hitbox, so I'm definitely going to be pulling on both accounts to get that Frostwing. Looking at the other items, Comet and Cacti are both really solid cards. Comet, that's got all those 3DS Rainbow Road tracks, super high scoring, and it's got the nice hitbox. Cacti is also really nice hitbox. Ice Flute Poltergust and Ice Dozer, they're a bit like meme cards, but at the same time, they're both in ranked. So if you get them and you don't have them, and you don't have a top shelf card for week 2 in ranked, they will help you. Ice Dozer is top shelf on Vancouver Velocity 2 RT, and I think Ice Flute Poltergust is top shelf on
Yeah, it's definitely used in top shelf. It's one of the few that I'm gonna need to pull the most. I'm actually
on Vancouver Velocity 2 normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both week 2 tracks.
Yeah, that's the only card that I don't have at least a level 6 for all cup ranking. I have the dark Hop Rod at level 6. Everything else is level 7 outside of those 2 cards. So I'm really hoping I pull that one the most tomorrow. Which is really sad to be thinking about because it's such a meme cards. But they're bringing things out. I really like the cards that are in here. As you mentioned, cards are sometimes the hardest to bring up in value just because there's so many of them. This is a good one to be able to kind of stock up. And that happens to be if you have rubies and you aren't trying to save up for next tour, because it is so tempting. This is the calm before what could be an epic tour finale next tour.
Yeah, sure. So I'm also talking about that with the perspective of like my free-to-play account. I have close to 600 rupees, so I can afford to clear this pipe once and still have enough for 100 pipe full clear next tour. If you are low on rubies, it's probably a good tour for saving. None of the pipes is really that compelling out of the 3 pipes, but this one is definitely the most interesting from my perspective.
Cool, man. I'd highly recommend it. We'll see what the odds end up being, but for these 50 pipes with the spotlight, I think it's going to be good value. As for the packs, if you like recycled useless drivers, these are the packs for you. We have 3 drivers that have been around for a long time with useless skills. Now, I know they've been catering a lot to newer players, so if you like the look of Wario Hiker and you've kind of wanted to get him. Now I know he was in, I believe, a pack just I think a tour or 2 ago. So I don't think everyone's like glamoring to try to get him. But 3 potentially useless drivers to those people who've been playing for a long period of time. But it comes with some really awesome new items, as we kind of alluded to. I love the way that you said Jolly Bells, right? Silver Bells or Frosty Bells. Like how cool that looks, and then of course the balloons. So it's kind of, they're all paired with some garbage. If you really want to get them, go for it. So definitely on the whale scale, they're definitely up there. And then we have the commemorative item and the premium challenge high end. So I think a lot of us have the Manta Glider, or whether it's in special pipes or regular pipes. But this commemorative pack, the New Year's kites, the New Year's 2020, 2021, 2022. I mean, the last two have been okay. I think the first one, I don't have the New Year's 2020 glider because I started late, or I guess 2 months too late. But I noticed when I first started, I was like, oh, I need that glider. It's everywhere. It was in ranked all over the place when I first started. But then we really haven't seen it much since. And then last year's New Year's 2021, I guess this year technically, has been completely lackluster, at least in my opinion. So we'll see what happens for 2022. These commemorative items, they seem to be kind of hit or miss. They were like really, really, really helpful year one, but now since then they've been kind of hit or miss. So it's interesting to see how those progress. But Angela, what are your thoughts on these packs and challenge items?
Yeah, so this seems like Nintendo's recent strategy. They're going to put a new, cool-looking item in a 90 ruby pack with a really uninteresting driver, hoping that you'll shell out for a 90 ruby pack for one item. I'm pretty sure nobody would pay for Hiker Wario or Aurora Rosalina. She's like 10 for aesthetics and 0 for value.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of opportunities to get her, so everyone who wants her, I think, has her by this point. But this is just a question: are you going to pay up for 90 ruby pack to get these new items? The Aurora balloons are really cool looking, as you say, and the sled as well is also looking really cool. So that's just how big of a whale are you? But I mean, if you want to say any of these packs, is it a stud or a dud? I don't really see any studs here. Snow Crystals one is maybe, yeah, I'd say the Snow Crystals one of the Aurora balloons are like the most interesting. But to be honest, yeah, not that compelling, as you say. Looking at the other ones, actually, the Premium Challenge Glider is a really good one. Manta Glider, I think, is one of the most underrated items in the game. I think he has like 21 or 22 non-cities, which is almost, it's in the top 10 for sure. It's an older glider, but it really has good value. So I would say if you don't have it, or you want to, even if you have it and you just want to get levels on it, it's definitely worth getting. Looking at the commemorative glider, the New Year's 2022, it's a sort of, it's a big gamble. Like you said, the 2020 is also one I don't have because I was strict Gold Pass only at the time. The 2021 glider, actually, if you look at its coverage, it has quite amazing raw coverage. The problem is it overlaps with a lot of popular stuff, so the actual benefit it gives a decently advanced account is not that much. It's a wait and see, I would say. If you're going to buy it once, don't buy it 3 times, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's it.
Yeah, I would say the Snow Crystals, they were just in a pipe last tour, so you probably had an easier way to get it if you pulled for it. But yeah, it might be one of the better items. It's just, the probably easier ways to get it than getting it through a pack. But most of the people that are getting packs don't need necessarily our advice. Going into the buffs, you mentioned that this isn't necessarily a tour with a lot of buffs, and why is that?
Yeah, because we don't have that many tracks, older tracks which you haven't seen for a long time returning. We've got Cheap Lagoon, and we've got Calamari Desert, and then we've got Bowser Castle 2, but all of the other returning tracks are like where we have seen them pretty recently. So, like for example, the Kamek set and the Silver King, coming into this tour, there was 28 tracks they hadn't seen. Now there are only 22 tracks they haven't seen, so it's really only that Calamari Desert and Cheap Lagoon, which are returning tracks which they could or could not get buffed on. Kamek, I think he got buffed on 1. It's nice for him. It like the whole, top to bottom list of new buffs, if you exclude the new tracks, the new Vancouver Velocity tracks is not really that big. So yeah, we're a bit light on buffs this tour.
Yeah, with that being said, Mario Satellaview got 3 buffs, and none of them are Vancouver related. So he still has 0 cities, a total of 15 tracks. I think if there's been this mantra that Marios don't get buffed very well, or they kind of get snubbed, Mario Satellaview might be the one bucking the trend. He seems to be getting all the right buffs every single tour. It's crazy. But hey, if there's any Mario that happens to, couldn't wish it happened to a better Mario because he looks sweet. Then you have Tanuki Rosalina, who got 3 tracks as well, 2 of which are the Donut Plains, the regular and the T, and then of course Vancouver Velocity 2T. She's up to 20 total tracks. 1 city. Again, showing us that these special spotlights, that are spotlights in a special pipe, are always good value, always good bang for your buck, and almost a guaranteed top 10 item. Penguin Mario up to 23 non-city tracks, 5 cities. He's number 3 on our list because of a number of things, especially around the unique coverage and his course coverage in general. Just a massive number of tracks, and he's got some tracks where he may be your best option, which I think we were really scared about this past summer. In between all these great skilled drivers, we kind of had some writing on the wall that he probably would be pretty good coverage eventually, and he's not let us down. Tanuki Mario, obviously not quite as prolific as the Rosalina version of Tanuki, but he's got 17 tracks, 1 city. And then my boy Waluigi Vampire, he's got 16 non-city tracks, 3 cities. And then Yoshi Kangaroo coming in big with Calamari Deserts, regular and R. He's up to 19 non-city tracks, 10 cities. So again, he gets through this tour without any cities added. He's number 7 on our list. Good for him. And then we have Yellow Toad Pit Crew. He's got, if there's any super that's going to be going pretty strong this year, he seems to be the one. He's got both of the same tracks as Yoshi Kangaroo, Calamari Desert, and Desert R. He's got 11 non-city tracks and 0 cities. Great for a super. He is coming on strong. For those people, I think almost everyone I know triple capped him and took him to level 7 if they had the tickets, and it is paid off massively. The ones that got 1 buff, we'll kind of breeze through them, but Builder Toadette, Donkey Kong Jr. SNES, Kamek, Peach Explorer, those are the ones that where the rich get richer. Builder Toadette obviously being our number 2 driver. And I think when we think about these lists, the top 10, I've kind of alluded to it many, many times now. I'll keep saying it. These are like the best odds to get top shelf next tour. And it always happens, right? We had Builder Toadette, saying, Builder Toadette, and here she is being on top shelf next week for Vancouver Velocity 2RT. And so from that perspective, it's like this, we can't say it enough. The reason the Penguin Mario is on that on the list, and the reason Builder Toadette is so high on that list, you're probably scratching your head. They don't have great skills. Why are they on the list? Because they're going to be on top shelf in ranked next week. I can guarantee it. It's like literally tour after tour. Any of these top 10 drivers until they stop getting these buffs, that's when they'll fall off that list. But until then, they're going to be in ranked. They're just going to be in ranked. Just get used to it. That's what the top 10 is trying to indicate and trying to help you invest on that respect. But of course, as you know, if they don't have a top skill, it's just a matter of time before they do lose their value eventually. But ride the wave while you can. Donkey Kong Jr. SNES, though, he's had a very interesting year. He's come on strong here in the last half of this year. Kamek everyone loves. He's number 5 on our list, and I'm sure he's going to be number 1. It's just a matter of time. No one else I really feel like mentioning per se, but Antilev, what are your thoughts on who got buffed for the drivers?
So one thing I want to mention is Stellaview Mario. He's up to 15 non-city tracks right now. Only 6 of those are Coinbox tracks, so he's got 9 tracks.
Massive.
And no cities. I do not invest in new drivers. I took him to level 6 at the beginning of this tour because his He's getting all the non-coin box tracks. I mean, his start is so strong. If you have him, I would advise you put tickets on him. He's. It's not like he's gonna be good. He already is good. You will show up in the top 10 sooner rather than later, I would say. Beyond that, Tanuki Rosalina, I'm calling her as the new Black Bardo. She's just getting so many tracks. The skill is like, okay, Super Leaf, whatever. It's a bit annoying, but she's just getting so many tracks. She's showing up in ranked so much. Yeah, it's she's got the number 3. She's the number 3 best driver in ranked, and she's got the number 10 ranking in raw coverage already, and she's super new. A lot of tricks still to see. She will get buffed more in the future, so I could see her ending up with 25 non-cities, like seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, going beyond that, Yoshi Kangaroo is a driver I could see ending up at number 1. He also still has a lot of buffs to go. Yeah, and he's getting a lot of non-coin box tracks as well. Yellow Pit Crew Toad, if you don't have Yoshi Kangaroo, is phenomenal for a super. I'm really happy to have him on my free-to-play account. Going beyond that, yeah, you look at the one buff drivers, it's almost all cities. So, I mean, are they buffs that are useful? Not sure. I wouldn't look at it too much. Yeah. Beyond that, I don't really have a whole lot more comments. When we get to the top 10 rankings, I have a couple more things to say, but for now, I think that's more or less it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, some of these drivers that give Vancouver velocity that have been around for a while, not necessarily too exciting. As for the carts, we have so many carts that it's really hard to get an uneventful cart buffing list, but I think it's important to just kind of breeze through these. 3 carts get 3 carts get 3 buffs, including the new clown cart, this candy clown Cactar, and then the yellow off-roader, which is going up our list pretty quickly. It's got 0 cities. It means all 3 of its buffs are not cities. It's up to 16 non-city tracks. Great cart to invest in. It's got a great wide hitbox, and it's got the right number band. If you have to get a little early on the trend with any cart on this list, this yellow off-roader is a great one to get ahead of. Getting into the carts that got 2 buffs. This gold pumpkin cart, a lot of people really like it, think it will do really well in 2022, and I agree with them. It's a solid cart with 20 non-city tracks, 2 cities already, which is phenomenal. Got a couple B-dashers in there, the green and sky blue, along with red and classic. So those are some nice little buffs there. Again, nothing really to write home with those. You're still kind of wondering like what's the end goal strategy for Nintendo with these B-dashers, but it just looks like they're kind of getting some random coverage. The one sad one I see here is the classic B-dasher. It's got 6 non-cities, 11 cities. That's pretty nuts. But then we got a couple holiday items in here. You got the Tanuki cart, which is number 8 on our list. It's got 19 non-city tracks, 0 cities. That is phenomenal for an up-and-coming cart there. Moving on to the carts that got 1 buff. Still got some additional B-Dashers Mark IIs in there, including the cream and I think the pink as well. But other than that, you got the Black Cat Cruiser, the Cleanup Hitter, Grand Bandwagon, Ice Dozer, the Poltergeist, Poltergeist that we talked about before. Kamek Zoom Broom, a very heated and debated cart, number 2 on our list. It's got 19 non-city tracks, 6 cities. Really, all the Kamek stuff is pretty good. Oh, and I missed the metal Mark B Basher as well. Moving through, a lot of people have invested in the Red Crawley card. There's an opportunity to do so for ranked this week. And then Silver King. Man, Silver King is beasting it up with 20 non-city tracks, 8 cities. It's getting all the right coverage. It's got a cool hitbox and looks freaking awesome. So I can't get too mad there. And then my Vampire Flyer, number 7 on our list. It's got 14 non-city tracks, 2 cities, which you like the low number of cities. But 14, it's coming up there. It's heading out the Red Crawley cart in carts that came out in the Halloween area. And then I want to circle back this Dark Hop Rod. It's got finally 15 non-city tracks, 7 cities. It's been getting slow buffs. It's number 12 on our list, though, because of the tracks it does have been really good. I'm slowly getting it up to, it's at now level 6, so I think it was at 4.5 prior to this tour. So I'm very happily investing, and I know a lot of my friends have it. I know it was a cart that I was expecting it to have already been at 12 and well into the top 10. But it's number 12, obviously, we're at this point. So, Antilev, what are your thoughts on all these cards and all these buffs?
Yeah, so we're talking about the Dark Hop Rod. So the one thing I want to mention about the 3 buff cards, the Candy Clown, the buffs are not really that interesting. It's got 2 Bowser's Castle 2 buffs, which you probably already have covered with, like, Guild the King or an older card. And it's got DK Pass RT, which has got a super. So, I mean, it looks great, 3 buffs. But actually, I didn't buy this one, and I'm not regretting it, even though I got 3 buffs. They're not that interesting buffs. Yellow Off-Roader, on the other hand, has got 3 really nice buffs. 2 Donut Plains, which is, they're both, I think, Coinbox tracks, DPN and DPR.
Yep, mostly King Bob Gold.
And it's a big flat track where you want to have a big card, so it's a really nice one. And then what's the third track it got? I don't have it in front of me. But those are 3 quality buffs. So, I mean, the Yellow Off-Roaders look really good right now. Moving down a little bit the list, my next pick for number 1 cart in the game is going to be the Tanuki cart, actually. I think this card has so much potential. It already has 19 carts, and it still has more than a quarter of all returning non-city tracks to see. There's still 46 tracks it hasn't seen. I could easily see coming and finishing with 25 non-city tracks.
Wow.
That is one that I have, level 1. I have my eye on it, and I'm a few more buffs, and I think I'll be ready to take it to level 6 and double cap it. That's my pick for the next big thing. Going beyond that, a Golden Pumpkin cart also got like some really quality buffs. I think that would jump up the rankings a lot. Going down the list, it's hard to say because a lot of these buffs are really just these city buffs and these new Vancouver tracks, and we don't know when they're going to come back. We don't know how valuable they are. That's more or less my comments on the cards.
Yeah, and we kind of alluded to the cream B Dasher and the metal B Dasher and the pink B Dasher not getting these buffs, but I think that's a good thing. I think those are these are not necessarily the buffs that you want for this tour, especially with so many returning tracks from last tour. And then moving into gliders, we have the Golden Wings, the Tanuki Parafoil, and the Vampire Wings, all getting 3 buffs. Obviously, the Golden Wings being a coin glider and a popular one because it was new in a gold pipe. It seems to be one that's rising pretty quickly, and if you have it, worth putting tickets on for sure. 17 non-city tracks, 2 cities there. Tanuki Parafoil, 17 and 2 as well. And then Vampire Wings, 16 non-city tracks and 2 cities, just slightly behind, but obviously a good glider with Red Shell Plus, obviously for multiplayer especially. In general, good too. 8-Bit, Super Mushroom, Candlelight Flight, both of those obviously being kind of newer. Then the Galaxy Glider, one that I really, really feel good about, it being just in a spotlight in a pipe here the last couple of tours. Actually, I think it was maybe just last tour. I feel like this whole month has gone by really slow with these tours. But obviously a really, really, really good pipe and one that I've already invested in pretty heavily already. It's got 1 city and 10 non-cities, which coming out of Vancouver, I was expecting it to get more Vancouver tracks, especially knowing that we got for this tour. I was expecting it to get a lot more city buffs, but nice it only had 1 there. Magic Parafoil, 15 non-city tracks, 4 cities. Meteor Balloons, 11 non-city tracks, 1 city. And then the pink gold version with 12-1. And then Polka Dot Manta Glider, we talked about being in a pipe last tour. 17 non-city tracks, 12 cities. That's a lot of cities there. And then Silver Surf Master with 16 non-city tracks, 10 cities. Moving into the gliders with one buff, two that make the most prominent note there for me is the 8-Bit Fireflower and the Black Toe Bean Balloons. Both great gliders, number 3 and number 2 respectively on our list, with the 8-Bit Fireflower with 24 non-city tracks, 7 cities for a total of 31 tracks, and then the Black Toe Bean Balloons just slightly below that with 29 total tracks, 7 of which are cities. Those are two awesome gliders. Glinting Glider being a great one too, with 20 non-city tracks, 9 cities, number 4 on our list. And then the Springtime Crane and the Starry Great Sail both getting kind of two other notable increases there, with the Springtime Crane at 21 non-city tracks, 9 cities. Starry Great Sail with 20 non-city tracks, 8 cities. Everything else getting a little buff here and there. Snow Crystals up to 18 non-city tracks, 6 cities. Still waiting for that one to blossom. Hasn't quite happened yet, but I think I'm going to be double and capping it for All Cup ranking, but only because I really want the best possible loadout. And then Ship's Wheel, surprisingly kind of slow rise here, but it is number 15 on our list with 16 non-city tracks and 10 cities. And so, what are your thoughts on these gliders and which ones got buffed?
Yeah, I actually, for the gliders, there's not a lot of movement at the top of the list, I would say. So many of the buffs are city buffs that just really don't interest me at all. Especially in the top gliders. The buffs that I'm really focusing on are 8-Bit, Mushroom, the Golden Wings, the Vampire Wings, Tanuki Parafoil, and the Silver Surf Master. They all got like solid buffs. Those are ones I would be looking at. But like 8-Bit Fireflower, Black Toe Bean Balloons, phenomenal gliders, but they only got one Vancouver Velocity 2 buff, which for me is not really adding a whole lot of value. We have no idea when these tracks are going to come back, if they ever come back. So I think the glider buffs are really mild and not as interesting this tour.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing is that some people are calling this a filler tour, kind of a lackluster tour in general. I think just having Vancouver again is always exciting for me, and I think that,
you can call every city tour a filler tour, but yeah.
You guys have been asking for Vancouver to come back. You got it. Not only that, but you got 4 tracks in ranked that are Vancouver related, and you're not getting them bombarded with Coinbox. So I think in general, people should feel good about this tour. I think though, I think everyone's got their eye on what's coming next tour. So can't get too mad at them there. But anyway, with the buffs. Because they were so many carryovers from last tour, you're not getting too many bombarded buffs from that perspective. All right, moving into the top 10 algorithm. A couple of disclaimers I'll mention, and I'll let you discuss it if you want to, Antelov. I know you and Tabor have had some good conversations this week, but in general, there are a lot of different things that make up this algorithm. It's not just the number of tracks it has, but really, getting access to how many total top shelf items are there, does it share with it, etc., as well as all how it's incorporated and ranked. And I would say, as you look at these items in the list, I'd say out of these top 10 items, you can almost guarantee that 5 of them will be in ranked next tour. That's how these lists work. Is it's really trying to help you, almost in like a power rankings perspective, know which items are hot, which items are getting the buffs, which items Nintendo is putting on that top shelf for ranked. And really, outside of that, your investment is going to rely on spreadsheets and really a case-by-case basis as to how you should invest. But in general, these items that are on these lists are going to be what's valuable to the majority, especially when you're thinking about ranked. So, Anselm, anything you want to add to this top 10 algorithm?
No, I think it's pretty clear. But when we get into the top 10 rankings, like let's have a little bit of color on what's driving the rankings for each item. So I think a lot of people look at the rankings and they're like, oh, this is ridiculous, this doesn't make any sense. It's an algorithm. It has it's not like Tabor sits down and is like, oh, I like this driver and I don't like that driver, so I'm going to put them here and there. No, it's very data driven. And the choices made are clearly laid out here, so that's you can see what it is. And if people don't look behind the just composite ranking and they don't look at the components that make that up, then that's kind of on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I hear people say, "Oh, the top 10 ranking is whatever," but really, like the complaints really are only for drivers, because the drivers, people, know that Coinbox is king, and so they're going to invest in Coinbox. But how boring is that if we were talking about the same top 10 every single tour? Hey, guess what? King Babam Gold and Quebec and Pink Gold Peach and Rosalina Swimwear. Here's your top 10. So fun is that? Like, that's not as interesting as being able to kind of predict which ones are going to be on the top shelf for next week. And I think when I ask people like, hey, what do you have problems with the karts or gliders? There's no complaint. I never hear a complaint. It's only about the drivers. So let's jump into that list. Blackbirdo, obviously been the beast of 2021. She is still king. Really, all 5 of the top 10 hold their spot down, with Builder Toadette at 2, Penguin Mario at 3, Peach Happy at 4, and Kamek at 5. So all these are solid to invest in. I think Penguin Mario, everyone's expecting that balloon to pop, but he keeps coming on strong. He keeps getting the right buffs. Tanuki Rosalina, as we alluded to, she went up 5 spots on our list. She is awesome, just when it comes to pure coverage and the coverage she's getting. But her skill is meh. I think when you think about that Tanuki tail, whatever it's called, it's something that we got really excited about, and we kind of got our parade rained on. But she's still got great coverage, and I think she's going to continue to get those right buffs. And then Yoshi Kangaroo, I think this is the first time we've seen him above Shy Guy Ninja, and I think that's going to continue to build up that list, which is really exciting for him. Obviously, being a boomerang, it's so much fun to use, and it's nice breakup compared to the monotonous coin box. But great to see him up 9 spots to number 7. Luigi Painter down 2 spots to number 8. Baby Mario Koala down 1 spot to 9. And then Shy Guy Ninja. I wonder if this will be the last week of him being in the top 10. He's had an awesome year. To think that he was released 9 months ago blows my mind. But he had an awesome summer, and he's still in the top 10. We'll see if he can hold on, maybe go up. We'll see what happens. But he's number 10 on our list this tour. Donkey Kong Jr. SNES, he's had a really powerful last couple months as well. Number 11 on our list, and always a possibility to be on ranked top shelf any week going forward. Peach Explorer, number 12 on our list. King Babam Gold, number 13 on our list. Bowser Santa, number 14 on our list. And Cat Toad, number 15. Antlov, what are your thoughts on the top 10 drivers?
Yeah, I just have a couple of notes on what's kind of driving some of these rankings, because just to make sure that people understand, like Peach Happy, for example, is a bit of I wouldn't say a meme, but she didn't really live up to her expectations, I feel like, from a lot of people in the community. She's number 4 because she has got the single best ranked appearance since her debut. She has been ranked more than anyone else. That's what's driving that. If you look at her coverage, it's okay, not great. She's number 16 on raw coverage. She's number 28 on weighted coverage. Her skill is good, not the best. It's a top 4 skill. But yeah, that's why she's where she is. Yoshi Kangaroo is number 6 on ranked appearances, so he's up there in courses. He's got 19 on cities. And like I said before, I think he'll be like really a number one eventually, or at least top three. But right now, it's still his ranked appearances which are driving his rating. Donkey Kong Jr. At number 11, he is sort of more well-rounded. He's got 33 courses in total. Some cities, and a lot of overlap with coin boxes, but it's like he's number 12 in coverage, in raw coverage, number 12 in weighted coverage, and number 14 in rank. So it's a nice, well-rounded driver. Never hurts to invest in him. Santa Bowser is one thing I want to mention. His coin box overlap score is the best in the game. He's got so many exclusives. He doesn't have the best raw coverage, but he owns so many courses, and also with his size, which isn't even taken into the rankings. He's a heavy driver. He dominates in all the courses that he has. And lastly, Tanuki Rosalina. She's a pretty new driver, but she's already up to 10 in raw coverage. And her ranked is also helping her as well. She's number 3 in ranked appearances. Yeah, that's my comments on the drivers.
Yeah, all good points there. It's interesting that Bowser Santa wasn't more involved in these winter tours. I know that Merry Mountain was obviously one that was exciting to have back, but I think I was expecting him to be 4 or 5 tracks in All Cup ranking and to be used more often, but. He's obviously had an up and down year and a coveted item. I'm glad that a lot of people got him and excited to use him for the tracks he does have this tour. Moving into karts, a lot of movement. I wouldn't say a lot in the numbers of how many spots, but everyone moving at least one spot. With Silver King taking over the number 1 spot. Obviously, coming from number 2, it was a kart that a lot of people love and excited to have it at number 1. It seems to always be in ranked, man. It is a beast kart for sure. The Kamek Zoom Broom, obviously a kart that a lot of people have mixed feelings on. It's got decent coverage, but and an okay hitbox, but just got such a weird feel to it. I'm definitely not a big fan of how it feels, and so I've even buffed karts that were below it to use something different. But it's up 3 spots to number 2. Again, none of what I just mentioned is a part of the algorithm, but just kind of make note of for those who have been wondering why it feels so different. Romby Runner still holding up a pretty strong showing here in our top 10. It's up 1 spot to number 3. And then Black Turbo Birdo, falling from the top there. Number 4 at the moment. Paintster, seen some better days as well, down 2 spots to number 5. But again, everything on this list, whether it's 5, 10, 15, because there's so many karts, all of these karts are worth investing in. Literally every single one of these karts. The Sunny Surf Sailor up 1 spot to number 6. Vampire Flyer up number 2. I absolutely love this Batmobile. I'm going to be taking it to 7,700 and using it for All Cup ranking. I absolutely love it. Tanuki Kart right there with it when it comes. I don't have it, but it's like right there with like one of the 2 most loved karts coming out of this fall. And then Red Taxi up 1 spot to number 9. With the Sakura Quick Shot falling down 2 spots at number 10. I've never been a big fan of the Sakura Quick Shot, but I can't say necessarily I've had the option to use it. Crawley Kart still holding on for a kart that's been out for 14, 15 months now. Holding down number 11 on our list. Dark Hot Rod number 12. We'll see if it goes up or down. Pink Dozer rising to number 13. Yellow Off-Roader, which we've talked about quite often in this segment, number 14 on our list. And then Purple Bunny. We've seen some better days, but still a solid kart to invest in at number 15 on our list. Antilev, you probably got a lot of opinions. I know some of these karts are some of your favorite. What are your thoughts on these top 10 karts?
So I don't need to say anything about Silver King. Everything I've said has been said 1,000 times. But yeah, I called it. One thing I want to touch on and throw a little water on your fire there is the Vampire Flyer. It's really being carried by its size. It's tied for the biggest hitbox with Off-Roader, and it's number 9 in ranked. But if you look at its raw coverage, it's ranked 87th in raw coverage and 87th in weighted coverage. It's not there yet, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think it can still get there. It still has a lot of buffs to come, a lot of tracks to see, but its ranking right now is really carried by its hitbox and by its ranked appearances. Just so that you all are aware, it's a top 10 card, but it's not a top 10 card for the long term yet. I think it'll still get there because it's got the potential. But just to let people know what it is. Tanuki Kart is another one I want to mention. It's already, as a pretty new card, up to 8th in raw coverage, and it's number 13 in ranked appearances. Purple Bunny is down at 15, but that one is actually the third best card in terms of raw coverage in the game, in raw coverage and weighted coverage. So
when you say raw coverage, just explain what that means for those who are.
So there's two components that Tabor use for coverage. There's the course coverage value and the weighted course value. Course coverage value is just the number of tracks it has, and then the weighted course value is like, the number of tracks it has being shared with other top shelves. So basically, if it has a high weighted course value, it means it has more like paywall tracks, or tracks that are harder to cover. Purple Bunny is number 3 in the game in both categories, so it just hasn't been in ranked very much lately, and it's got a relatively small size, which hurts it as well. It's still one of my favorite cards. I lean on it pretty heavily. And then finally, the Security Quickshaw. I know you don't like it. I also, it's not something I've invested in, but it's got the second best raw coverage in the game. Just something to mention. Other than that, yeah, that's more or less it. I think it's a pretty solid top 10, top 15. It makes sense to me. Yellow Off-Roader is one I would keep my eye on as well.
Yeah, I love this list. I really think any of these that you invest in are going to be strong in value. I personally love the Purple Bunny. I have it at $7,595. I use it all the time, especially in short tracks where you're not going to have a lot of jump boost. I'm thinking some of the tracks it has that I believe Donut Plains or a Choco Island, where it's a shorter track, so you want that rocket boost, Rocket Start Plus. The one thing I will call you out on, though, is the Vampire Flyer. I know you were really hyped, and so maybe you can distinguish this. I know you said that the new carts, the Frost, what's it called, the Frostwing?
Frostwing, right? Yeah.
So you said that the Vampire Flyer shares a lot of the same tracks with it, but you said that it didn't have the Vampire Flyer didn't have necessarily some of the better raw coverage. I know that the Vanilla Lake that it has, it's pretty. I think it's the only one that I have it above level 1, and so I'm actually really glad that that's there. But I know that the Frostwing will have, I think, 1 or 2 of those Vanilla Lakes. So tell me a little bit of comparing the Vampire Flyer to the Frostwing. Why are you so hyped up on the Frostwing, but not necessarily on the Vampire Flyer, if the coverage is overlap there between the two are a little bit higher?
They actually only overlap 2 cards, and so when I talk about raw coverage, that's not the quality of the coverage. We don't look at like what cards or what tracks it has. It's just simply the number of tracks it has, with a weighting for NRT, RT, whatever. And the Vampire Flyer, it only has 14 non-cities, which is not bad, but it's not for a modern cart. You want it to have more, and I think it will still get there. It's more like I want people to know that it's a top 10 cart, not because it's getting into the Harambe Runner, Silver King range of phenomenal coverage, but that it's really being driven by the biggest hitbox in the game and ranked appearances a lot lately. There's 2 parts of the ranked rank. One is number of ranked appearances, but the other one is percentage of ranked appearances. And I didn't check it for this tour, but the previous tour, it was, I think, in 66% of all ranked tracks.
Wow.
Which is crazy, yeah, since its debut. I mean, so, like I said, I think the Vampire Flyer will get there eventually because it still has a lot of buffs to come. It has the ssame buff potential as the Mark II B Dashers and the Tanuki said no, even more actually, because it came one tour after, so it has got like a third of the non-city tracks to see, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want people to know that
why
if
it's
you
carrying it
invest
so
in
high.
right.
Yeah. No, I think it's that's why I mean honestly I could probably talk for 5 minutes on each one of these carts and what's going on behind the scenes. And that's kind of why we have a driver deep dive of the week, and I think even had some people ask about a cart deep dive of the week, because each of these carts are going through their own situation. So I really appreciate you talking about that. I think from my perspective, the fact that it's been in so many ranked and still has a low number of tracks is good to me, because I'm like, hey, yeah, just keep only giving it ranked tracks and we're all happy. So whereas though I would say the weighted course value that you're talking about, with that number being low, that's not good for it. So that's really helpful to know.
That's true. I mean, the thing is, if it gets like 3 more tracks, that will completely change the picture, and it will get 3 more tracks at least. So yeah, let's revisit this in a tour or two, and maybe the story will be completely different. I'm just saying, at this point, I just want people to be aware that it's not being driven by its coverage.
Yeah, and we've seen stuff get inflated real quick and then die out. I'm thinking like Calico Parafoil or something like that, where it goes in the top 10 and then just falls off. Sure. You're saying that the Vampire Flyer could potentially have this deflation pretty quick too. It really depends. It's gonna wait and see type of moment. So I appreciate you shining that light, and I'm glad you had this conversation with us.
When we talk about karts and gliders, the coverage value is more long lasting, and ranked value is more fleeting. Right? So that's why I think it's important. The carts like Purple Bunny will stay up there, even though it's not been in ranked, because it has such good coverage. The ones that are being driven by the ranked appearances may fall off. That's all. Really
good point. I'm curious if like the Zoom Broom or whatever is kind of in that same situation where it's kind of gotten some ranked value, and if that's why it's there exactly.
It's the number 1 ranked cart. So that's a big reason. I mean, its coverage is also very good. Number 11 in weight coverage, number 14 in raw coverage. But yeah, it's the number 1 ranked appearing cart, so that's why.
Yeah, I think the algorithm is on point for the karts and gliders, no doubt about that. I think if you want to argue the drivers, hey, I get it. But karts and gliders, all these are phenomenal. And so let's get into those gliders. We have the Dream Glider, which came into our number 1 spot last tour, holding it down at number 1 again. And then we have the Black Tobian Balloons, which has been in our top 10 for a while, holding down number 2 for the consecutive second tour here. Now, the 8-Bit Fireflower has gone up and down in our top 5, but a very, very solid top 5 glider for sure. Up 2 spots to number 3 again. It's been like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, down every tour, but it's a solid glider for sure. Glinting Glider down 1 spot to number 4, but it's still a solid glider. One of the better commemorative items we've seen this year. And then Black Great Sail. It's not necessarily on its farewell tour, but it was number 1 for so long, and probably still will be, just based on the number of tracks it's had, and how incorporated it is in every single tour in All Cup ranking. But it is down 1 spot to number 5. Yeah, the Springtime Crane, which has been rising here lately, which has been surprising, but can't complain. It's a beautiful looking glider. At number 6 this tour. And then the Starry Great Sail up 1 spot to number 7, which between that and the Black Great Sail, they've always kind of been neck and neck for a while before Black Great Sail pulled ahead, and now with Starry Great Sail, it's time to shine. Nice to see it at number 7. And then Gold Home Field Glider. Again, these items that are in these special pipes have always been pretty strong. It's up 1 spot to number 8, and then the Silva Manta Glider down 2 spots to number 9. Flying Easel up 2 spots to number 10. Then rounding out the top 15 is the Silver Surfmaster, number 11. The 8-Bit Bullet Bill at number 12. Yukata Ribbon at 13. Golden Wings at 14. And Ship's Wheel at 15. Antlev, what are your thoughts on these top 10 gliders?
Yeah, so I think it's a good list. I want to touch on 2 gliders initially. The Ship's Wheel and the Silver Surfmaster are really being carried by their ranked appearances. Silver Surfmaster is the number 1 glider that's been in ranked most, and Ship's Wheel is number 3. Their
Wow.
raw coverage, their coverage stats are not that impressive. Ship's Wheel 42 for raw coverage, 39 for weighted coverage. Silver Surf Master 41 for raw coverage, 37 for weighted coverage. They're still relatively new items. They can still get more buffs, but the rankings are definitely carried by their ranked appearances. Let's talk about those coin gliders. The Gold Homefield glider, I did a little experiment. I took out the skill component of the rankings because coin is rated as number 1. Gold Homefield glider drops to number 19 if you take out the skill component,
Wow.
and Golden Wings drops to number 22. They're still phenomenal items. Gold Homefield Glider is number 12 in ranked, and no, Golden Wings is number 16th in ranked. Moving further, Glinting Glider 18 in both coverage statistics and number 7th in ranked. It's still bumped up a little bit by its skill being coin. And then looking at the ones that are kind of look like they're fading a little bit, well, not 8-bit Fireflower because it went up, but Black Great Sail and 8-bit Fireflower are both respectively number 1 and number 2 in both coverage categories. For coverage kings, if you're looking at ACR, Black Great Sail, 8-bit Fireflower, still phenomenal choices. And then one that's not even on the list, Dragon Wings is still number 3 in coverage on both coverage categories.
Wow.
It is number 103 ranked in its skill because Green Shell is awful, and it's number 65 in ranked appearances. But from a coverage perspective, Dragon Wings is still doing it. Yeah. For the rest, I think it's a really good list. I like all of these gliders. Dream Glider, I'm so I talked about it a few tours ago. I said I think this is going to be the top glider in the game, and it still has potential. Kamek said still has 22 tracks to see. I can see it getting another track or 2 at least.
Yeah. All these Kamek items seem to be pretty coming on strong with. I think that glider really leading the way so far. As for the other movers and shakers, we have quite a list here. Yoshi, okay. So he's got 14 spots to number 88. Can you tell me why?
I can tell you why in just a second.
That blows my mind. I was expecting to be reading a different color Yoshi, but that's Yoshi. Tanuki Mario up 11 spots to number 25. Saddle of You up 11 spots to 34, and then Yoshi Kangaroo, which we've talked about already, up 9 spots. Waluigi Vampire up 6 spots to number 42. Yellow Pit Crew Toad up 6 spots to 81. Tanuki Rosalina up 5 spots to number 6. We've already talked about her. Pauline Party Time. Haven't mentioned her necessarily on this list in a while. Up 5 spots to number 51. Waluigi Bus Driver up 5 spots to 78. And then Rosalina Aurora up 4 spots to 70. Any insight onto Yoshi's?
Is he in ranks at all or something? Because they didn't get any buffs. I'm trying to look at why he's why he went up in the rankings.
I'm hoping it was a mistake on our end and it was Blue Yoshi or something else. So
no, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it could be Reindeer Yoshi potentially because he got a small buff from Vancouver Velocity normal, but it can also just be that the general statistics have changed, the course weightings have changed. These things happen. It can just be noise, Going from 102 to 88 is not significant. If they would go from like 12 to 4, that would be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, it's a good point. So if you think about Waluigi Bus Driver, he was number 83 on our list. 102 is pretty low. So yeah, I'm with you there. To move from 102 to 88 is nothing worth writing home about.
Honestly, no.
Most improved carts, we have the Green Bee Dasher. Wow, that's crazy. Up 37 spots to number 80. With the Classic Bee Dasher going up 29 spots to number 83. Candy Clown up 22 to go to 108. I wouldn't get too excited about that necessarily. Sky Blue, we got a lot of Bee Dashers moving up. So Sky Blue up Actually, it looks like, yeah, Sky Blue and Red up 18 spots, up to number 58 and 59 respectively. Pink up 16 spots to number 45. And I'll just go ahead and mention Metal Beat Asher and Cream Beat Asher, who went up 15 spots and 13 spots respectively to number 52 and 39 on our list. It looks like Cream Beat Asher seems to be so far leading the pack when it comes to those Mark IIs. Lunar Cruiser up 15 spots to number 47, and then Sleigh Rider to 123. So don't get too excited about that. The most improved gliders, the Safety Glider up 12 spots to number 68. Tanuki Parafoil up 11 spots to 21. Magic Parasol up 11 spots to 39. Those are probably the most notable. I will say the Vampire Wings went up 7 spots to number 26. It's just outside the top 20. And then the Gold Tanuki Parafoil, just number 36 on our list now. Everything else I wouldn't get too excited about. What are your thoughts on all these movers and shakers?
I think it's very significant that all 7 of the B Mark II palette swaps are in the movers. They are now getting to the point where they're maybe on the edge of being respectable carts and not Hanafudas. They still have some They still have some tracks to see. They still have 46 returning non-cities to see. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really holding out hope for them. I want them to succeed. It's not looking good so far, but we'll see. They seem to be getting a steady 2 buffs every tour. So if that holds up, then yeah, maybe we see them get into the range of like a normal card. Other than that, again, there's not that many buffs going on this tour. A lot of the stuff here, like Safety Glider, is the glider that moved the most. It didn't even get buffed. It's just from a ranked appearance change, So.
Wow. So let me ask you this then. Do you think these Mark IIs are going up because it's a city tour? And that's maybe why the buffing seems to be going on. The reason I ask is that a lot of them have city coverage in general. So I wonder if they kind of throw a couple of buffs at it during city tours, and maybe they're kind of still having a lot of weightage in city tracks, or I'm just kind of curious if because this is a city tour, that has any implications.
Well, yes, but it's not because they have city coverage. It's because it's relative, right? There's not a lot of impactful buffs happening this tour because most of the buffs are on city tracks, but a lot of these Mark IIs are getting 2 solid on-city buffs. The Green Bee Dasher is getting 2 Donut Plains 2 tracks. Sky Blue Dasher is getting 2 Cheap Lagoon tracks. Red Bee Dasher Mark II is getting Bowser's Castle 2T and RMX Rainbow Road 2R. So good. Relative to all the other buffs in this tour, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, good. That's really helpful to know because I think that would be that was kind of my assumption when I was reading these. Is I wonder how much is associated to that. But that has been debunked. I appreciate that, Antilev. Moving into the All Cup ranking MVPs, you have a lot of the new items on this list. Really, when you think about Toadette, Penguin, and then the White Snow Skimmer, the Frostwing, the Frosty Bells, those all with, and then of course the Penguin Wingtip, which we've talked about before. Those having 11 and 10 for total tracks for All Cup ranking. So out of the 36 tracks, 11 of them belong to Penguin Toadette, 10 of them belong to these 2 carts and these 2 gliders. Then we look at 9 tracks out of the 36. Still a good number there. We have Penguin Toad, the Snow Skimmer, Aurora Balloons, and Polka Dot Manta Glider. As for 8 total tracks for All Cup ranking, Penguin Mario, Lakitu Party Time, Penguin Slider, the Gold Penguin Wingtip, and the New Year's 2022. And then for the items that are used 7 times in All Cup ranking is Penguin Luigi, Pauline Rose, Gilded King, Star Spangled Glider, the Silver Star Chute, the Black Tobean Balloons, and the Ship's Wheel. Now, I know for me, I'm using this Silver Star Chute literally all 7 times for my soft top 10 push. It is really coming in clutch for me on that. I am using the Gilded King a couple times, mainly because of the Bowser's Castle The black toe beam balloons I'm using a little bit, but I think overall, like, it's the Silver Star shoe for me and what I'm using it for. Lakitu Party Time, I have him a couple times, but he has like some it's some of the tracks that Ninja's on and Kangaroo Yoshi's on. So I think I'm only using him for like two tracks because of just his overlap. And I'm not using any Penguin Luigi or Penguin Mario, but yeah, I think I'm having to use like Rosalina Aurora once because of Vancouver's throwing things for quite a curve. I'm having to pick between. I have, and I'll just kind of mention this one little caveat to my experience. I think my driver average is like 6.9 because there's the RT for next week in ranked. I'm having to choose between Toadette Explorer and using her at level 4, or putting 14 tickets on Waluigi Vampire and using him at level 7. And I think, Antliff, I think that's the way I'm going to go, to have him be incorporated as part, in case I somehow get top 10. I'd love to have him be a part of my experience because I just love the way he looks and just so glad to have him. So now
he's
the only
definitely
thing is,
one of the best looking alts.
he looks awesome, but I will say he's only used once for All Cup ranking because RT is only used once, which I found was kind of odd.
Doubled.
Yeah, because the art reverse is used twice, the trick is used twice, the regular is used twice, but RT only used once. So found that kind of interesting, but it doesn't matter. I want him to be a part of my success or my demise. Either way, have him a part of my situation. So that'll be fun. For anything you want to, by the way, anything you want to mention about the All Cup ranking?
No, not really. No. Except for the fact that I don't have a heavy investment in any of these items.
So I think, and that's part of the reason why I'm going for it, is like it's a tough tour for All Cup ranking for really just about anybody.
Definitely.
So it just happened to be I happened to invest in the Galaxy Glider, invest in the Silver Star shoe, invest in the Black Toe Beam balloons, invest in the the Ice Dozer. In fact, actually, that's the one move I'm kind of kicking myself for. I put some tickets on it to take it to 7. It's the only one in the special pipe that I have at level 7, so I'll be trying to avoid that tomorrow. But it is what it is. It's a great card for All Cup ranking this tour. I might even throw some tickets on the Snow Crystals just to give me an extra push. I'm all in, man.
Snow Crystals in a pack next week.
It is. I have it at level 7, but I'll get some glider cap tickets. Yeah. So I'll double uncap it just to give me an extra little push. Man, I'll take every little push and just hope that the other drivers who have done this before are just not willing to make those moves. As for multiple use ranked items, we have a good number of items on these lists. I would say that only one item is used 3 times. So I know the as Frenzy fans would call it the double feature. There's only one triple feature. That's the White Snow Skimmer. Of course, it being released next week doesn't always help you too much to be able to take it to level 6 or 7 to be able to use it. I know it is one of those items is level 6 that one of the tracks is unlocked to level 6. And then Penguin. So Penguin sorry, I jumped right in the carts there. Starting with drivers. Penguin Toadette used, Penguin Toadette, Penguin Luigi, Wario Hiker, Peach Wintertime, and Penguin Toad all used 2 times in ranked. And then we have Ice Mario, who's unlocked to level 3. He's being used twice. And then same with Mario Santa. He has one that is unlocked at level 3, which we'll get to in the next slide. As for carts, we talked about the White Snow Skimmer being unlocked at level 6 for a total of 3. Black Penguin Slider, Frosty Bells, Cream Bee Dasher 2, Gilded Prancer, and Frostwing are all used 2 times in ranked, with the Snow Skimmer being unlocked at level 3 is used 2 times as well. As for the gliders, you have Aurora Balloons, the Blizzard Parasol, the Polka Dot Manta Glider, and the Springtime Crane and Silver Surf Master all used 2 times, with the Gold Penguin Wingtip. If you already took it to level 6, that's working out well for you because you are using it 2 times as well. And then when we actually break down ranked and what that means, we're looking at this Iceboro Cup that you're already probably very familiar with. The White Snow Skimmer is unlocked to level 6 for the Vancouver Velocity 2T, and that is the only item unlocked for that track. For DK Pass RT, you have so many options, and we've seen this 3 times in ranked, in the last 6 months. So you're probably very familiar with your loadout there. Dry Bowser's a really popular one with level 3. You also have Saddle of You and Happy there, kind of as some top tier drivers that I've been seeing a lot. Black Yoshi being probably the most popular that a lot of people are using. Mario Santa, though, is unlocked at level 3, and then Toad Party Time at level 3 as well. For karts on DK Pass RT, you have the Double Decker, the Ribbon Rider, the Day Tripper, all unlocked at level 3, with the Pink Dozer and the Sunset Cloud unlocked at level 6. I know I'm using the Pink Dozer, and that's a good one to have with Jump Boost Plus. A lot of jumps, that's for sure. Dragon Wings and the Silver Star Chute unlocked at level 3. I definitely know the Silver Star Chute is a good one to invest in, even if it's 12 past its prime. With Vancouver Velocity 2R, no unlockables, so nothing to talk about there. Moving into week 2 of Ranked, we're talking about Ice Mario. Vancouver Velocity 2, you have the Gold Penguin Wingtip unlocked at level 6. We already talked about it. You probably are going to have it at level 6 right away. But in that case, it's not a bad one to take all the way to level 6, obviously it being a brand new gold coin glider, so pretty solid there. And then a little throwback here, this Mario Circuit RT, we've seen many times this year, last year, and the year before, in Ranked, but we have Ice Mario level 3, Rosalina Swimwear at level 3. I think Rosalina Swimwear probably a solid choice for you to use on that track. I'm trying to remember if there's any other Coinbox drivers, but she's going to be the one that I've definitely been using, and she's really strong there. Pink Wing and Snow Skimmer and Wild Black all unlocked at level 3 for Mario Circuit RT, with the Red Standard 8 unlocked at level 6. So if you are struggling for a kart for Mario Circuit RT, take a look at the Red Standard 8. It is a super kart. You can take that all the way to level 6, level 7, and have a pretty decent kart for that track. Now, I think a lot of the... I'm mainly talking to some of the newer players who have been playing for maybe the last 6 months. That's a great one to start out with and take the level 6. The 8-bit Super Mushroom unlocked at level 3, along with the Bright Glider 2. Both of those from Mario Circuit RT. And then nothing unlocked at Vancouver Velocity 2 RT. I know that track, that Vancouver Velocity 2 RT, is going to be a tough one for a kart ticket. For a driver cap ticket. It's going to be a tough week for that track specifically. Anything you want to add to that, Antolev?
No, I think that basically this just shows this is the really brutal Ranked as far as how paywalled it is and the top shelves. Like my free-to-play account on week 1, I'm missing 2 of 9 top shelves. It's an 8-month-old free-to-play account, so I have quite a lot of items. And in week 2, I'm missing 4 out of 9 top shelf items, so 3 tracks, driver kart glider. And in week 1, I'm missing only 2 because I got lucky pulling Tanuki Rosalina and Tanuki Mario. It's really hard. I'm probably going to tear down over there. And I think a lot of people are in a similar boat. It's just a really difficult Ranked.
It's tough, man. It's tough. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this All Cup ranking now, is hope I can somehow sneak in there into the top 10. We'll see what happens. I'm realizing right away I do not have enough time for this. I feel very irresponsible while I'm doing it. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. That is our episode of The Rundown. If you haven't already, just click like real quick before you exit the video. I'd love to have get this out, get this content out in front of as many people as possible to help as many players get an advantage on the game. If you want to take a look at our memberships, we have awesome members, and I kind of feel like they're the best kept secret. So maybe not check out our memberships, because we just have an awesome family. But we're slowly growing and having a blast doing it. But as always, appreciate your time, Antolev. Thanks for joining us, man. Anything you want to say to your fans before we head out?
No, absolutely not. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for having me on again.
So happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I know we have some episodes coming up here, a pipe pull video, a kart talk. We even have potentially an award ceremony maybe in the next 7 days. We'll see about that. a drive or deep dive. Man, we got a lot going on this holiday season. So if I don't talk to you though before Christmas, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everyone else, and I hope you guys have an awesome week in Ranked and enjoy this Penguin Tour. Till next time, may the frenzy luck be with you. See you guys.